All right, Shalom Yasharallah. Before we get started, we're going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Hawashai, Bahashem, Rachakwadash, and double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone, the teacher and rule well. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect. And we're back with another video, another lesson. The title of this one's going to be called Trump to Reopen Alcatraz Prison. And I got two articles that we're going to, go through. They're both from the site NPR. This one, excuse me. Sorry for that. But this one's from like I said, they're both from NPR. But this is this one reads: Trump says he will reopen Alcatraz for the most ruthless and violent prisoners. Now, we don't know how true that is, but hey, it could happen, because he's already talking about, all right, sending U.S. citizens to, homegrowns are next. Trump hopes to deport and jail U.S. citizens abroad. So, it's not really out of the picture. But we could read it. It says, President Trump says he is ordering federal agencies to rebuild and reopen Alcatraz, the notorious maximum security prison that closed more than 60 years ago. End quote. I am directing the Bureau of Prisons together with the Department of Justice, FBI, and Homeland Security to reopen a substantially enlarged and rebuilt Alcatraz to house America's most ruthless and violent offenders, Trump said in a post on Truth Social. The historic former U.S. penitentiary Alcatraz, opened in 1934, is widely known as The Rock. Its buildings dominate the craggy landscape of Alcatraz Island, which lies about 1.5 miles north of San Francisco's famed Fisherman's Wharf. Alcatraz once housed dangerous criminals, such as the infamous mobster Al Capone, under an incarceration strategy that sought to concentrate difficult prisoners in one facility, segregating them from less dangerous inmates in the prison system. Trump's message suggests he wants to restore Alcatraz to its original dual purpose. The twin goals for building the original prison, according to the Federal Bureau of Prisons, were to deal with the most incorrigible inmates in federal prisons and to show the law-abiding public that federal government was serious about stopping rampant crime in 1920s and 30s. It says, rebuild and open Alcatraz, the president said on Truth Social. He added later in his message, the opening of Alcatraz will serve as a symbol of law, order, and justice. Trump did not provide details about a timeline for reopening the prison. When asked for comment, the Department of the Interior and the National Park Service refer NPR to the president's statements. Asked on Monday about his idea to reopen Alcatraz, Trump replied, I guess I was supposed to be a movie maker, noting the prison's long history. It represents something very strong, very powerful in terms of law and order, Trump said, adding that no one ever successfully escaped from the prison. All right, you can read the rest on your own, So it could, I'm not saying that, it's not far-fetched, right? And you got this other one. This one came out April 16, 2025. Homegrowns are next. Trump hopes to deport and jail U.S. citizens abroad. And I'll read a little bit of it. It says, President Trump says his administration is actively exploring a proposal to detain U.S. citizens and send them to prisons in El Salvador. Okay? Speaking Monday, minutes before a press briefing alongside El Salvador's president, Nayib Bukele, Trump could be heard embracing the concept. The homegrowns are next. The homegrowns. You've got to build about 5 more places, Trump said to Bukele, I hope I'm saying his name right, in apparent reference to prison space that would be needed in El Salvador to house U.S. citizens. El Salvador is already holding hundreds of people in a maximum security prison. They were flown from the U.S. in recent weeks after being detained for allegedly lacking legal status or having gang affiliations. Critics say many of those individuals were deported with limited or no due process, some in defiance of court orders by U.S. judges. Responding to Trump on Monday, Bukele suggested his country is prepared to incarcerate U.S. citizens. What? Read it again. Responding to Trump on Monday, Bukele suggested his country is prepared to incarcerate U.S. citizens. Yeah, we got space, El Salvador's president said. The proposal has drawn condemnation from some legal scholars who said it would represent an unprecedented encroachment on the civil liberties of U.S. citizens. It's obviously unconstitutional, obviously illegal. There is no authority in any U.S. law to deport U.S. citizens, and certainly not to imprison them in a foreign country, said David Beer of the Cato Institute, a libertarian think tank based in Washington, D.C. The problem, of course, is Trump already has illegally deported hundreds of people by just not giving the courts an opportunity to stop him, Beer said. I think that's the real fear now that he is going to try evade judicial review of deportations of U.S. citizens. And like I said, you can read the rest on your own, so let's read Revelation, and it's gonna be short. Revelation 12:12. Okay. And they also want to, because they want to, crack down on, the attention is going to come on the Hebrew Israelites. Okay. This is Revelation 12:12, and all those who come up against not just us. The main focus will be us, but it's also going to be, on those who come up against the government, who speak out against the system. Revelation 12:12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil, is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. All right, and the devil is Esau, Edom, the so-called white man. All right, devil in the Greek is diabolos. Okay, prone to slanderous, accusing falsely. All right, metaphor applied to a man who, by opposing the cause of God, may be said to act the part of the devil or to side with him. Okay, and they're the spiritual. They're the physical counterpart of Satan. Okay, that's on the earth. Jump down to verse 17. And the dragon, who's the dragon? Dragon is Esau, Edom. And the dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Yahushua HaMashiach. Okay, so they're going to make war with the remnant of her seed. They're going to come down with great wrath. All right, now they're going to come down with great wrath on the inhabitants, on those who speak up against the government, against the system. Okay, but they're going to come down on the main people they want to attack are those who are, the Hebrew Israelites. Okay, because that's who they're focusing on. That's what they really want to get at, because these are our enemies. This is Psalms, the 83rd chapter. I'm going to go straight to the point. I'm going to start at verse 4. It says, they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom and the Ishmaelites, of Moab and the Hagarenes, Gebal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre, Ashur also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot, Selah. These are our enemies. And as you see at the top, the first one that lists is Esau, Edom. Okay? These people right here want to cut us off from being a nation. Right? Let's get this in Second Esdras. Okay? Get to it. Second Ezra 16 and 68. Outside of 67. It says, Behold, the Most High God Yahweh himself is the judge. Fear him. Leave off from your sins and forget your iniquities, to meddle no more with them forever. So shall the Most High lead you forth and deliver you from all trouble. For behold, the burning wrath of a great multitude is kindled over you. All right, and they shall take away certain of you and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols. How you going to be idle? They're going to come get you from wherever you at, may come get you from your job, your house, wherever, and throw your ass in the jail, throw your ass in the prison, to throw us in the prison, you know. And they're going to feed you, being idle. Okay, you ain't going to go, you can't go nowhere. You idle. And it says, and feed you, being idle with things offered unto idols. Going to try to give you that sea hip. And they that consent unto them shall be had in derision and in reproach and trodden under foot. For there shall be in every place and in the next cities a great insurrection upon those that fear the Lord. Yahweh Shem Yahushai. They shall be like madmen, sparing none. They be like wild animals. Like that's their true nature. Okay? It says, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses. Okay? Then shall they be known who are my chosen, and they shall be tried as gold in the fire. All right? The chosen will be tried. They're going to be tried, man. There's a trying time. Hear, O ye my beloved, saith the Lord, behold, the days of trouble are at hand, but I will deliver you from the same. You see that? So the Lord's going to be with the elect no matter what. Right? Even during those trying times. Let's get what else I had? Okay. Matter of fact, before we read that, let's read this. 2 Timothy 3 and 12. Okay? Because this is what's coming. 2 Timothy 3 and 12, it says, yeah, and all that will live godly in Hamashiach Yahushai shall suffer persecution. So you gotta, if you're gonna, matter of fact, let's get, if you're gonna, it says in Ecclesiasticus, which we're about to read, it says, my son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation. Set thy heart aright and constantly endure, and make not haste in time of trouble. Cleave unto him and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate. For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. You see? So, for gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. We got to go through adversity. We got to go through a trying time, man. So we got to prepare our soul for temptation. Okay? So going back, 2 Timothy 3 and 12, yeah, and all that will live godly in Hamashiach Yahushai shall suffer. You're going to shall suffer persecution. Okay? It also says in the book of Acts, is it 14 and 22, confirming the souls of the disciples and exhorting them to continue in the faith, and that we must through much tribulation enter into the kingdom of God. Okay? Into the kingdom of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, man. All right? So you got to go through tribulation. You got to be persecuted. Some brothers and sisters will be thrown into a prison. You're gonna be beheaded, or whatever the Lord has, whatever the lot the Lord has you in, or has us in. Revelation 2 and 10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison. I don't really like this word prison, but we know what prison is, though.
Strong's G 5438. Fulake. Fulake.
Fulake. It says, a guard watch, to keep watch, persons keeping watch, a guard, sentinels of the place where captives are kept, a prison. All right. So yeah, we know what a prison is. Of the time of night during which guard was kept, a watch, i.e. a period of time during which part of the guard was on duty, and at the end of which others relieved them. As the earlier Greeks divided the night commonly into three parts. It says, so previous to the exile, the Israelites also had three watches in the night. All right, so we know what a prison is. So it says, behold, the devil, Esau Edom, the so-called white man, shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I'll give thee a crown of life. So whatever, whatever lot the Lord has us in, and we gotta, get our heads chopped off for this, for this truth, for the word's sake. Hey, so be it. Better to be, with the Lord in here anyway, But this is what's coming down the pipe. This is what we're, coming into. We're in those times. The men before us, they were prison. Peter was prison. Matter of fact, I believe. Let me see. Agrippa. I know it's in Acts, but one of them, I don't think it was Agrippa. I think it was man, I always get this. It was one of these that I think it was James, or was it John? It was somebody who that let me see. It was Herod. Yeah. It was Herod the king. This is Acts 12:1. Now about that time, Herod the king stretched forth his hands to vex certain of the church, and he killed James, the brother of John, with the sword. And because he saw it pleased the Jews, he proceeded further to take Peter also. Then were the days of unleavened bread, you see. So back, and Herod the Herods were Edomites. Now I forget which Herod this was, but Herod the king, he killed James. Our forefathers, the apostles, Paul, they were persecuted, they were jailed. So the same way it got to be for us, man. So I'll put the link in the description for both of these if you brothers want to do videos on them. But this is the times we're coming into. Trump to reopen Alcatraz prison. And, hey, brothers may be thrown into that prison. May be shipped off over there if they really, open it up. So, Lord willing, it was edifying. You got some edification out of it. We're going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rachakwadash, and double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone, the teacher and Ruel. Peace and citations to those for elect. Lord, who's edified. To the next video, I'm going to say, Shalom.